Spanish La Liga, Turkish Super League, preview, predictions, and futures. My name is Corbin from the Parlay Club, and I've got the best bets and the plays the books do not want you knowing about. As always, drop a like, comment, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. Let me know whether you agree or disagree with me, what futures you like, all of that fun stuff. If you missed the last video, I was breaking down the Premier League and the EFL Championship. Obviously, as I mentioned, in this one, I'm going to be doing Spanish La Liga and Turkish Super League. And then we'll have another video where we're going to do Italian Serie A, German Bundesliga, and French Liga A. Let's get right into it. I mean, we're starting with the Spanish La Liga. Let's bring up some odds, actually. That's probably the best place to start. So, let's go here. So, Barcelona are about... this is in English odds because the DraftKings doesn't have much up at the minute. So Barcelona are about minus 135. Real Madrid coming back at plus 120 or so. And then Atletico Madrid are out at plus 1400. Let's start with Barcelona. Barcelona obviously won the league last year. Pull up the table from last year. Barcelona won the league by, 8 points last year. And obviously they're the favourites, as we just saw, to win the league this year. I think they are the better team, but I think it's going to be a lot closer battle this year for the reasons we'll get into in a sec. I think Barcelona are the more settled side. I think they have obviously had their coach for longer. Most of their players are more settled. They kind of have a spine going through the middle of that team. Some really strong players. Obviously, Spain won the World Cup, and Barcelona had quite a few prominent figures in that team, such as Yamal and Kubasi, amongst others. But for me, they're really lacking one, maybe two types of players. The first one is a striker. They've obviously Lewandowski's left, and he's gone to the MLS now. Ferran Torres has either moved or is looking like he was going to go to PSG, and that leaves them basically no strikers unless they play a false nine with the likes of Olmo, etc., or Rafinha, or playing Anthony Gordon through the middle, which explains why they're heavily going after Julian Alvarez, who plays for Atleti. I think that signing or a central striker could be the difference between Barcelona winning this league or not. You look at who they've signed. So they've signed Adeyemi, who's sure he's good enough. He played for Dortmund. He's not going to be a superstar, but he's going to be a good squad player. They spent a lot of money on Anthony Gordon, which I think is absolutely crazy. I think he has moments, but I think he's going to look completely out of place in this team. They elected not to bring back Rashford, which I think is hugely surprising. He had a great year for Barcelona and some real important moments. They also haven't signed a centre back to partner Kubasi. There was talks of Bastoni, etc., but they didn't. I don't think they've signed anyone so far. We can actually, if we click on Barcelona, it should tell me who they've signed. I'm pretty sure. Arrivals. Yeah, they okay. I was just checking. They have definitely not signed a striker since I was looking into it. And they've obviously let Araujo go, although Araujo was a complete liability. To get around this, they will, as it stands, probably their left back. I've forgotten his name off the top of my head. I want to say it's Gerard, but I could be wrong. Or they'll move Eric Garcia or Kunde into centre back position. So they kind of have that covered. Plus, I think they'll have too much. They have too much control of these games to lose to some of these other teams that are in this league. But I think the striker is the key position. I think without a striker, I think they're really going to struggle. But obviously, they're still going to win games. I'm not saying they're going to be bad, but I think they'll struggle more than they did with a 94-point season last year. And then they're also trying to get Rodri from my team, Man City. At the minute, it's kind of looking 50-50 whether they get him. If they do, it'll be a huge coup. He'll be amazing for them this year. If not, I don't think they're going to miss him too much. They have way too many good midfielders with the likes of Fermin Lopez, Danny Olmo in kind of the attacking area of that. And then they've obviously got Pedri, De Jong, Gavi, etc. So they're kind of blessed in that kind of area. Moving on to Madrid, who obviously finished second last year. They've got far more change in their team. Obviously, they sacked their coach and they now have Jose Mourinho again, which I think is going to be a really interesting dynamic. They've signed some really key players actually. So they signed Cucurella, who from Chelsea, who I think is going to obviously fix their left back situation. They have Diamande, who I think is promising. I think he's going to be more of a squad player, although they spent a crazy amount on him. Dumfries is coming in at right back. Again, it's another right back option. I don't think Mourinho sold on an aging Carvajal or Trent this year. But I also wouldn't trust Dumfries. I don't think he's a particular upgrade on that, but neither here nor there. And then the big signing for me, I think, is Bernardo Silva from Man City again. He's not the player he was. He doesn't have the speed, but he has that kind of he links everything together. You can already see it. Again, it's pre-season, but you can see in their friendlies the way that he's almost dictating the games. He's like he controls the tempo and the passages of play, which is what I feel like Real Madrid lacked last year, amongst numerous other things. So I think if Mourinho can get them on song, I really think Real Madrid are going to be live for this. Again, it's going to come down to that transfer window, whether they're Barcelona get Alvarez, Rodri, or Neva. If Madrid go out and do anything else. Obviously, Madrid still have Mbappe, who we'll get onto in just a second. Um, they kept Vinicius Junior, and obviously that revenge angle. Barcelona, I think, are going for a free-peat. So, yeah, Madrid are going to really want to stop that. Uh, Third, again, I probably have Atletico Madrid. They finished fourth, but a lot of that was down to the cup run. They basically sacked off the season with a month or two left to play to try and concentrate on the Copa del Rey and the Champions League, of which they won neither. Um, they've signed two players that I really like. I'm going to butcher the name. Lee Kang from PSG. I really liked him in the glimpses that I saw, but again, he's like a attacking midfielder slash wide player. And also Grimaldo from Bayer Leverkusen, who's going to probably be playing or will be playing left wing back. I think they're two great signings, but again, similar to the theme I mentioned with the Barcelona team, it's all about Alvarez for me. If they hold on to Alvarez, I actually think, again, I don't think they can win the league, but they'll certainly get third, if not pushed for a second. They'll make it competitive, but without Alvarez, they slip down into the fourth, fifth kind of, not even fifth. I don't think they slip that far. I think they still comfortably finish top four, which we'll also get into in a second. The problem again is if they end up in that situation, they are just going to prioritize the cups again. Obviously, Simeone wants silverware, and the cups are definitely the best opportunity to get that for them. Uh, where is it? I might as well talk about it here. But top four, again, Barcelona, Real Madrid. I mean, you can add them into certain plays. I mean, they are just going to finish top four, and it doesn't add much to your odds, but it brings it down even a smidge. This is one that I was looking at was Atletico Madrid minus 400 to finish in the top four. Again, they finished top four. What was that by? 9 points in the end, and as I said, they basically took the last 2 months off of the season. Uh, Team I'm looking to fade is Sevilla right here. Oh, Sevilla is such a weird team. They had such a good team and then they got into debt, financial issues. They've basically been selling off their team. They've been so close to the drop 2 years in a row. The season before last was even closer. They just lack real quality, but they also have the big team name. Like everyone hears Sevilla and thinks they're going to win or that they're good, and they've completely fallen off. It looks. I mean, this was super tight at the bottom. They survived by what is that? 1 point? Yeah, 1 point and a pretty bad goal difference. So yeah, not particularly convincing. I think they're going to be. Where are they priced in the market this year? Sevilla again. I think they're going to be down the bottom here. I don't think they're going to get relegated. But again, 4-1 feels way too big on a team that's so overhyped on massive wages for players that just aren't very good. So yeah, Sevilla are my team to bet against. Obviously, going to bet on teams like Madrid and Barcelona. I also like, as I mentioned, Atletico, Betis, and Villarreal. Outside of that, these teams are very well bunched together. I don't really normally see much opportunity in those kind of markets. The other markets I love are teams playing against Madrid and Barcelona to go under their corners. Spain are notorious for their keeping possession and kind of dictating play, and that's what these two teams do. They push the opposition into a low block, and so many of these teams lack the pace because they go for technical ability more in Spain than raw speed. They struggle to get up the pitch and thus get corners. So, corners and shot props, and betting on Barcelona, Real Madrid, and against Sevilla is probably your best bet. The last bet I wanted to mention, if you saw the thumbnail, is Kylian Mbappe to finish as top goal scorer. So we can pull it up here. This is for last year. Mbappe obviously got top goal scorer with 25 goals. I cannot say that his name for love nor money. Mariki and Budimir, again, they're not. Maraki's close, but again, Mbappe did this in a bad Real Madrid side last year where they basically threw their toys out the pram again. I think he's nailed on. I think minus 180 is a fantastic piece. I'm surprised he's not minus 300 or higher, quite honestly. I think if we can go back, let's go back another season. I'm pretty sure he let's go standings and top goal scorers. Again, Mbappe 31 goals the year before. I'm not sure if he was there the year before. Real Madrid standings, top goal scorer. No, he wasn't here at this point. It was Bellingham was playing as a false nine. So that's 2 years in the league and 2 straight years of being top goal scorer. Again, I like this minus 180 roughly piece on here. Shop around, always try and find different books, etc. Player total goals. Again, I think, oh wow, I think Mbappe to score 25 goals is great as well. I'm pretty sure, I don't want to go back, but I'm pretty sure he scored 31 and was it 25 exactly, so I really like that. Or a Fable, again, I'd have to look into it more, but I think this 15 plus goals, let's actually do that now. So let's go last season. I know he did have an injury, I think, at points last season, but 15 goals on or if Fable got exactly 15 goals. I will have to dig in and look at that more, but everyone that watch the World Cup predictions and previews knows how much I like Orifable. Again, they're the kind of props that I am going to be looking at in this league. Want to mention what I've got up for clients before we jump into the Turkish Super League. Code soccer gets you $20 off a month's package. This will include every soccer future that I play, soccer in general every week, tennis, darts, F1, MMA, Korean baseball, all of that gets included in this one monthly subscription package where the plays get emailed to you or an app notification. US Open is at the end of the month, so this is a perfect time to jump on. As you can see on the slide, never had, or I haven't had, a losing month so far this year, which is huge because, yeah, nobody likes losing money at any times of the year. You don't have to be a big sports bettor as well. Even if you bet $10 a play, you're up 1,500 quid, which is a crazy amount of money, I think. So, and then that just rolls in. So obviously, once you generate that profit, you then your unit size goes up gradually and gradually, and then you just kind of like compound interest, make more as you go on. People ask why to buy my picks specifically. There's a huge amount of people that do this. Obviously, I've got a track record over the last 5 years that I would say is pretty good. I cover sports that people don't. I would say I'm quite reliable in that kind of aspect. We have down moments, but we always seem to kind of pull it back, as you can see in the stats. Sport, I already mentioned that sports you don't cover, so you get lessons and you get exposure to other strategies in sports. And again, who doesn't like making money? If you want any proof of this, I have a spreadsheet that's got all my results for this year. Link me in my bio for all of that. And yeah, if you want these plays, go to the DubClub in the description or the top comment and use code soccer for $20 off a month subscription. Any questions, reach out, DM, comment, all of that fun stuff. Let's move on to the Turkish Super League, which I think is extremely flying under the radar here. For me, I mean, we'll pull up the odds again now. Let me just find my right window. So as you can see, Galatasaray and Fenerbahce are both plus 100, which I think just shows how close this league is going to be between the two of them. If we pull up last year's, there was just 3 points between them. Galatasaray obviously won three more games, and Fenerbahce had 11 draws. If they even turn a few more of those draws into wins, they obviously win the league comfortably. Um, and that's kind of going to lead into where I'm liking. I love Fenerbahce this year in so many ways. I'm going to bet on them in futures that we will get into in a second. Also, matches. I'm going to bet them almost every week, except probably against Galatasaray. Um, they've made some real great signings. They've signed Ake. They've signed Greenwood, who I don't like as a person. We don't need to go into those politics, but he is a goal machine as he showed in Liga last year, and I really think that's going to help try and turn some of those draws into wins for Fenerbahce. They've also signed Lukaku, who, again, if he can stay fit, I didn't have much high hopes for him going into the World Cup, but he showed that he has still got something left in the tank. He was a threat every time he came on. On top of that, they still have a really solid team. Kante, I've got Guendouzi in midfield, Skriniar at the back, Edison, Talisca. They've got so much threat. They're really solid at home as well. And I think they're just such a well-rounded team, and I think they're going to build on last year, and I think that they are my favourites to win this league. On the flip side, you have Galatasaray, who have Oshiman, Leroy Sane, Torreira, Yilmaz. The problem for me with Galatasaray is that they haven't built on that season. They went out and signed Sane and Oshiman last year to really push that level, and they were really good. Oshiman's obviously a great striker. I'm surprised he's still at this level, but they haven't built on that. You see so many times where teams win the league and they don't then take that next step or continue to go again. It's so hard, especially with the same squad, which again I think all favours Fenerbahce. I still think Galatasaray are going to push them really close because of the quality in their squad. I just think that some of these things kind of give these other teams the edge. Um, we'll get on to Trabzonspor and Besiktas now, but the way I'm going to attack this is these season match bets. My favorite. Let's start with my second favorite one is Fenerbahce minus 350 versus Besiktas. Interestingly, this was minus 300 20 minutes ago. Um, Fenerbahce, as you can see from last year, finished 14 points ahead of Besiktas. So you would think minus 300 is nailed on. The only thing to look at is for Besiktas, they've signed some really quality players. They've almost done what I like about Fenerbahce. They've signed Dusan Vlahovic from Juventus, who I think is going to exceed phenomenally at this level. Leandro Trossard from Arsenal and Ozcan from Borussia Dortmund. I think all of these players are going to significantly improve this Besiktas team. And I actually think Besiktas could be looking like a sneaky good team. They're definitely one I'm going to watch for the first couple of games and then see if they kind of turn into a cash cow against some of these lesser teams in this league. But I would still take the minus 350 on Fenerbahce for the reason that I don't need to go over them again. I love this Fenerbahce side to win the league, and I don't see, although I think Besiktas make improvements, I don't think they make 14 points plus what I think Fenerbahce are going to increase on that for next year. But my favourite prop is the one right underneath. Again, going back to Fenerbahce, minus 300 to finish above Trabzonspor, who, if we look, Trabzonspor finished 5 points behind them. And they signed Salah, and the big craze, and everyone thinks Trabzonspor are going to be so much better, but I think Salah is extremely over it. I know he's going to a lesser league, but I would not be surprised to see him struggle. I don't think he helps push them on that much more. And I love this play. Again, I'm not going to go over it again. For the reasons I love Fenerbahce and the reason that I'm going to fade this Trabzonspor, Trabzonspor, I always mess it up, team, especially now they're overpriced with Salah. I love Fenerbahce in every kind of way, basically. And that's going to wrap it up. I don't really have an opinion on the relegation or the mid-table teams, but I'm going to look to play probably the top two against really ninth and below, maybe probably even top eight and below. I think they're just so much better, the depth and quality. And I hate to say it, but the Liga sometimes feels like it's a bit rigged. It really suits these top teams, especially when they're at home. yeah, look at their home record. They haven't lost a single game last year between them. That's why we're going to use money lines and draw no bets on both of those teams, and I think it's going to pay off handsomely. And that's going to wrap it up for this video. Obviously, as I mentioned, if you want to get on these client plays, once I lock in the futures plus betting these every single week, use code soccer for $20 off a monthly package. Any questions, drop it in the comments, like, comment, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. And we'll see you next time for the next preview video.